Hey there, folks. How you doing? Welcome to RWL Championship Wrestling. Hangman Tex Lynch here, and I am joined this evening by Chicago Danny Awesome, former RWL manager and general manager of the Southwest region, Gene Barry. Now, these guys were really nice to me when they played host at RWL Southwest for me the other night. So I thought, well, with Don Hickson resting his throat tonight, I'd need some more support staff, so I invited Don and Gene to join me. And we'll all be back with our first match right after the break. All right, well, our opening contest tonight, ladies division competition, with Georgia Washington, the Yankee Rose, set to face Allison Kinsey of the Click. You know, Tex, I will say from the start, if this isn't the most pretentious, the most cringe, the most annoying entrance in all of professional wrestling history, I'm an Eskimo. Well, seems, well, gosh, Don, the kids like it.
Are you ready for the new sensation? Well, here's a shot heard around the world. Are you back, rude boy? Salute when the flag goes first.
Our opening contest, one fall, with a 10-minute time limit. Approaching the ring from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, she's the Yankee Rose, Miss Georgia Washington.
Well, friends, you can love her or hate her, but the Yankee Rose, Miss Georgia Washington, has made an impact since her debut some 7 months ago. And what about you guys? What do you guys think of the Yankee Rose, Miss Georgia Washington? Tex, she's a dope, she's a half-wit, and she ain't even a real American. She's French-Canadian, for crying out loud.
It's true. If you listen to her speak, she definitely doesn't have a standard North American English accent.
French-Canadian, huh? Well, somebody better go tell Kurt Angle.
Her opponent from Celia Noble, Pennsylvania, representing the Click, Allison Kinsey.
Well, all right, it's been a mighty long time since we've seen Allison Kinsey of the Click. Her, Ashley Renee, and Amanda Power, oh, well, they are a trio, and they have been a successful trio for about 10 years. Allison Kinsey out here on her own this evening, trying a single match out against Georgia Washington. It ought to be good. Allison Kinsey is their most talented member.
And if there's anyone who can present a challenge to Georgia Washington, it would be Allison.
All right, well, a great opening match and a first-time encounter between these two ladies who have never met before. You have my assurance. Referee Willie Johnson rings the bell. They come center ring. Well, Allison, quick with the counter, locks up Georgia Washington. Clinches with her up against the ropes. Ref's going to step in and break that up, see if we get a clean break here. Yes, we do. Allison quickly countered by Georgia. Georgia Washington countered by Allison Kinsey with a slap of the hand away. Georgia whipped to the ropes, and a spinning kick from Allison Kinsey takes her down. Kick to the midsection. Georgia Washington counters. Georgia Washington's got her up. Allison Kinsey goes behind, goes around the back door, says surprise, and hangs her up and puts her down. Allison Kinsey catching a jawjacker from Georgia Washington, who fails to connect with the clothesline, catches a kick, catches a chop. Now she's in the far corner with Allison Kinsey trying to kick in her ribs. Oh, man. Georgia Washington swings wildly and misses. Allison whips her so hard into the ropes into the corner that she rebounded out. Allison Kinsey firmly in control right here. Basement dropkick to the back of the head of Georgia Washington. Followed up with a stomp to the midsection. And a slam of the face right into the canvas. Well, now, Allison Kinsey. Been a long time away, but hasn't forgotten how. Georgia Washington nails her with a suplex. Georgia with a head scissors and a knock across the noggin for Allison Kinsey. Oh, man, Georgia Washington trying to unscrew the head of Allison Kinsey like a bottle cap. Man.
And it's a sure sign of arrogance when you're kicking dirt on your opponent.
Cover, but just a one. Allison Kinsey powering out of the pin. A chop across the chest. Down goes Allison. Georgia Washington rounds her up. A kick, a knee right to the head. And down goes Georgia Washington. Allison Kinsey countered with a jawjacker by Georgia. And there's a one-arm slam to Allison Kinsey. Allison counters, kicks away the knee. They lock up, kick to the midsection for Georgia. Allison Kinsey goes behind. German release suplex from Allison Kinsey. Allison dragging Georgia Washington just about center, going for the cover here. 1, 2. And that took great ring presence to get Georgia away from the ropes.
Well, yeah, that's because Allison Kinsey's a veteran. She knows her way around the ring. She's no dope.
Allison moves in. Oh, look at this. Georgia Washington playing possum, delivers an inverse Hurricane Rana and doing a little styling and profiling here. Rounds up Allison Kinsey, takes her down with a clothesline, follows it up with a second one. Allison swings and misses, a rebound off the ropes, and down goes Allison Kinsey. Kick right back up again. Whoa! As if to say, yeah, and a clothesline takes down Georgia Washington. Allison Kinsey doing some fancy work of her own, a couple of clotheslines, and a kick right to the face of Georgia Washington. Georgia rounded up again. Allison whips her into the corner. Georgia Washington counters, delivers a chop across the chest. Allison counters with a chop. Whips Georgia into the corner, back turn. Georgia counters, delivers a chop and a spear that takes down Allison Kinsey. That is not good. Georgia Washington debating her next move. Allison Kinsey is laid out. Allison counters with a jawjacker, backs off Georgia Washington, fails to connect with a drop kick. Georgia fails to connect with the kick, nails her with a kick to the midsection, and a neckbreaker drop. Down goes Allison. Allison Kinsey being dragged center ring by Georgia Washington. Now see where we go here. Oh, look at this. Into the figure 4 leg lock. This could be real bad for Allison Kinsey right here. And, oh man, look at this. Look at the arch on the back. Georgia Washington's got it locked in real good. Allison Kinsey in some big trouble. The referee asking what she wants to do here. And that figure 4 is locked in. Georgia releases the hold. Damage may already be done. 1, 2. But no, Allison Kinsey getting the left shoulder up just in time. Georgia Washington has to start all over again. Georgia rounds her up. Arm drag from Allison. Allison misses with the chop. Georgia Washington with a wraparound DDT, face first into the canvas. Goes Allison Kinsey. And here we go, Georgia Washington trying to rally some fan support here. Good luck with that one. Whoa! Hurricane Rana from Allison Kinsey. Allison countered by Georgia Washington. Georgia whips Allison over the top rope, out onto the floor. Follows her on out. Allison Kinsey catches an arm drag, and whoa, a drop toe hold from Allison to Georgia Washington. Makes her way back inside the ring, followed by Georgia. Allison Kinsey. Whoa, yanked by the hair and pitched halfway across town by Georgia Washington. He does not appreciate Allison Kinsey apparently making her look foolish with another Hurricane Rana. Wow. Allison Kinsey. Long time no see, but has definitely not forgotten the assignment. Allison moves in on Georgia cautiously, tentatively. Georgia makes her way back inside. Nails her with a right that takes her down, follows it up with a stomp. Tags her with another right. A slap across the face that spins her around. Allison Kinsey whipped to the ropes. Georgia Washington. A little do the hustle here into a neck breaker. Wow. And then a one-arm slam from Georgia. Here's a cover. 1, 2. And again. Shut up. Allison Kinsey giving Georgia Washington a decidedly tough time. She needs to regroup here. Needs to take a minute to think. Maybe have a Twix. Georgia countered by Allison Kinsey and swept down to the mat again. Georgia Washington makes her way up the apron. Allison Kinsey tries to tag her with the right, but Georgia counters, makes her way back inside. Tags her with a hard right forearm. Down she goes. Drives an elbow into the leg of Allison Kinsey. Georgia Washington shoved away by Allison Kinsey. Allison back on her feet and stalking Georgia Washington. This could be bad right here for the Yankee Rose. From behind, German suplex with a pin. 1, 2. Oh, man, that was close. Okay, Allison Kinsey really sticking it to Georgia Washington here. Here's a spear. And I don't know, I think Georgia Washington might think she's got it. Here she goes for the cover. 1, 2, and again, Allison Kinsey absolutely refusing to give up here. Allison rounded up to her feet by Georgia Washington. Georgia's got her up. Allison alley-oops from behind. Tags her with a right to the back of the head. And a one-arm suplex from Allison Kinsey. Wow. Allison catches a gouge of the eyes from Georgia. Georgia escorts her towards the ropes. Pitches her over the top rope and out onto the floor. I think Georgia Washington's just about had enough of Allison Kinsey. Rolls her back inside the ring. Takes herself back inside. And now Georgia Washington stalking Allison Kinsey here. Kick to the midsection. Oh, here it comes. She's setting up the Rockets' red glare. And here it is. Boom. That's it. The RRG. That's it. She is done. Allison Kinsey is laid out. Here's a cover. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that is about it. Georgia Washington defeats Allison Kinsey by pinfall.
The time of the fall, 7 minutes and 33 seconds. Your winner, Miss Georgia Washington.
You know what, guys? I'll tell you. She's putting on a great front right now, but I guarantee you, Georgia Washington is mad as hell right now because Allison Kinsey went ahead and made her look stupid.
Most certainly did. It took almost the whole length of the 10-minute time limit just for Georgia to put Allison Kinsey down for a 3 count.
Well, as it turns out, she did do that. And despite having won the match, she did wind up looking kind of silly at the hands of Allison Kinsey, who always seemed to have an answer for whatever it was Georgia was pulling out. All right, fans, that's going to take care of our first match this evening. We will be back with a whole lot more RWL Championship Wrestling right after these important words, so don't you go anywhere. All right, fans, as we continue up next, it is tag team competition time with Thrasher and Mosh, the Headbangers, set to go 2-on-2 against Splendid Bobby C and Sensational Fabulous, Team Splendid.
Team Splendid, a very talented pair, but highly underrated.
Our next tag team match, 1 fall with a 15-minute time limit. Approaching the ring from parts unknown, at a combined weight of 445 pounds, here are Thrasher and Mosh, the Headbangers.
During my time, I would have loved to have managed these two guys. Absolutely would have loved it. The Headbangers was definitely ahead of their time.
Well, and tonight, Thrasher and Mosh, and another first-time encounter, set to face Splendid Bobby C and Sensational Fabulous, Team Splendid, and this is going to be a hellified good tag team match, you guys.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it. As I said, I believe Team Splendid is a highly underrated team.
Well, what makes you say that?
It is true they have not won quite as many matches as their top star counterparts, but their undeniable raw talent is there, and I tell you, someday they're going to be very big.
Their opponents hailing from Beverly Hills, California, at a combined weight of 435 pounds, here are Splendid Bobby C and Sensational Fabulous, Team Splendid.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gene, you must see something that I don't see because, well, Team Splendid, as talented as they may be, they have definitely not won enough matches to rate anything near a title shot. And, well, that's really what we're all here about, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I can kind of see what Gene's talking about. These guys have a raw talent. It's there. It's immutable. You can't escape it. And someday, they are going to be big. You just wait and see if I'm not right.
Gosh, maybe you guys should recruit them to Southwest or something.
Okay, don't laugh. It's not impossible, and I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't mind having these guys in Southwest. Would you, Gene?
Certainly not. I think they're extraordinarily talented, and I think we could grow their talent in Southwest.
Well, I'm not going to question your judgment. Obviously, you two gentlemen are visionaries.
I'd love to see them stick it to Scott Bell and his pathetic stable.
Oh, all right then. All right, well, this Thrasher and Sensational Fabulous beginning this tag team match. Referee Walt Rothburn rings the bell. They come center ring. They lock it up. Up over their shoulders goes Thrasher. Fabulous deposits him head first into the turnbuckle. Down he goes. And look at this. Fabiolas steps out, steps back in for a minute. Don't know what that was about, but he got whipped to the far corner, the opposing team's corner. He counters and escapes. Locks it up with Thrasher. Thrasher whipped to the far corner. There's a knee right into the chest. And now, Sensational Fabiolas putting the boots to Thrasher. Here's a rebound off the ropes and a face wash for Thrasher. Fabiolas, quick cover here. 1, 2, and a near fall within the first minute. Well, that does say something. Splendid Bobby C comes in on the tag. Thrasher still laid out. Bobby C rounds him up, delivers a set of wrist clutch kicks to the side of the head, follows it up with a stomp, and again some more rocket style kicks and a forearm, and Thrasher is looking like he's going to have some problems this evening. Okay. Woo-hoo-hoo. He failed to connect with the shooting star. Thrasher back up on his feet, goes behind, tags him with a right, whips him into the headbanger's corner. Here comes Mosh, and here comes a double team. Whip over neck whip. Up off the top rope here, both of them, and boom! Oh! Assisted crossbody from the headbangers. Bobby C counters with a kick, gets back up on his feet, rounds up Mosh, drives a knee into Mosh's skull. They lock up. Mosh whips Bobby to the ropes, ducks under, tags him with a forearm, and down he goes. On the wrong side of town, too. Mosh driving knees into the back of splendid Bobby C. They lock up. Whoa! Nice hip toss from Mosh. Here's a counter from Bobby C. They lock up. Bobby C drives a knee into the head again. He steps out, and here comes Sensational Fabiolas. Mosh seated in the corner. Counters. Gets back up on his feet. Locks up with Fabiolas. Whips him to the headbanger's corner. Oh, man, here we go. Putting the boots to the chest of Sensational Fabiolas. And now, an assisted alley-oop out of the corner. And Fabiolas ain't looking too sensational right now. Mosh rounds him up. Whips him into the corner. And here's a counter. Fabiolas with a flying kick, rebound off the ropes. Oh, he's into his kung fu, huh? Oh, man, here's a spinning punch that takes Thrasher down. Chopped him down like a sequoia. Okay. Another forearm. Fabiolas pitches the other headbanger out onto the floor and goes back to work on Thrasher. Got him up over the shoulders. Slams him down. Sensational Fabiolas firmly in control here of Thrasher. Thrasher whipped to the Sensational's corner. And here we go, head first into the turnbuckle. Team Splendid performing really well tonight. Thought you'd appreciate that, Gene.
I do. I mean, see for yourself. They're putting the headbangers to shame.
Rebound off the ropes and a face wash for Thrasher. Courtesy of Sensational Fabiolas, who goes for a cover. One, but just a one. Only just a one. Fabiolas takes himself all the way up to the top rope. Thrasher's laid out. Boom! Double boot stomp right across the gut. And that'll make you lose your lunch. Splendid Bobby C comes in on the tag. Thrasher is laid out. Rebound off the rope, shooting star. Beautifully executed by Splendid Bobby C. Bobby starts raining right hands on the head of Thrasher. And again, still not quite satisfied. I think he's trying to open him up. Man. The Splendid one rounds up Thrasher. And a series of punches, kicks, and elbows, and a kick, and down goes Thrasher. He is in big trouble. And on the wrong side of town, too. Wrist clutch kicks to the head, followed up with another forearm from Splendid Bobby C. Here comes Sensational Fabiolas. Thrasher trying to find the exit on the freeway here. He does. Here comes Mosh. And Fabiolas just spotted him. A couple of rights and a counter kick. Oh, man, nicely done by Sensational Fabiolas, following it up with a kick to the chest for Mosh. A stomp to the shoulder. He rounds him up by the wrist and a knee to the skull for Mosh. Mosh locks up Sensational Fabiolas. has him up, but Fabiola's counters inverted DDT to the back of the head, and here he goes for another cover. 1, 2, another near fall. And so far, the Headbangers are not doing too well in near falls. It's all Team Splendid. Fabiola whips Thrasher to his team's corner. Crashes his head into the turnbuckle. Let's see what we got going on here. Off the middle rope and a beautiful flying kick right to the face of Mosh. Mosh catches it in the mosh. And here's a tag. Splendid Bobby C told to take over. Moves in on Thrasher, but Thrasher just a step too quick. Sensational Fabiolas rolls Mosh back inside the ring. Bobby C drives a knee into the head of Mosh. The Splendid One delivers a kick to the leg. Steps out, tags in Sensational Fabiolas. Mosh favoring that knee. And now Fabiolas rounds him up. Counter by Mosh. Mosh locks him up. Hip toss. Goes for the cover. About time. 1. But just a 1. You're going to have to do a hell of a lot better than that, Mosh. Clothesline takes Sensational Fabiolas down. An elbow to the top of the dome. And now Mosh. He's in control of this matchup, but unwisely stepping out and turning it over to Thrasher. He should have stayed in there and fought it out. Thrasher gets locked up by Fabiolas, whipped to the Team Splendid corner. Thrasher counters. Clothesline takes down Sensational Fabiolas. And now Mosh tagged back in again. Fabiolas moves in, delivers a right that spins him around. He's got him up over the shoulder. Inverted fireman's carry, knee to the skull. GTS right there. And here's a cover. 1, 2, but Thrasher right there to save his partner. Sensational Fabiolas doing a little showboating here as he rounds up Thrasher. Mosh. Mosh whips him into his own team's corner. There's a shot to the midsection. He goes after Splendid Bobby C too. And Zaguri takes him down. Turning his attention back to Sensational Fabiolas, delivers a kick to the leg, draped over the rope. Mosh moves in, locks up again. Kick to the midsection. A clubbing overhand right, down goes Sensational Fabiolas. Slammed head first into the canvas. Now Mosh catches a jawjacker from Fabiolas. Counters Fabiolas. Locks up again. Whips Fabiolas to his team's corner. Delivers a hard shot, and there's a tag to Thrasher. And another double team coming up from the Headbangers. There's a chop to the head. He's got him set up. And here we go. Oh, man. What a leg drop. And here's a cover. 1, 2, but no. Splendid Bobby C breaking up the pin, saving the match for his team. Thrasher steps out, tags in Mosh again. Fabiolas back up on his feet now. They lock up. Whipped into the Headbangers corner one more time. Here's a counter. Fabiolas, tired of their corner, whips Thrasher into his team's corner, which he seems to like a whole lot better. And now yanking the arm of Thrasher against the ropes. Sensational Fabiolas opens up with knees to the midsection. Thrasher goes down in the corner. And look at this. Big Tom putting the boots to the chest of Thrasher. All the way up and boom. Oh man, double knees right to the chest. Sensational Fabiolas kind of enjoying himself. Oh man, well, Thrasher's not enjoying himself. Splendid Bobby C comes in on the tag. Gathers Thrasher back up. Mosh. There's another kick to the head. And down goes Mosh. Splendid Bobby C all the way up on the top here. Waiting for Mosh to get to his feet. Here we go. Fails to connect with the double axe handle. Just fell about a foot short. Goes behind. Delivers a shot to the back. Counter. Oh, a cheap shot from Sensational Fabiolas. Changed the play on that one. Up over the shoulders goes Splendid Bobby C. Mosh delivers him head first into the turnbuckle, and he just split his head open. Oh, man. Well, what a match we've had here so far. They lock up. And whoa, what a kick from Bobby C. Here's a cover. 1, 2, 3. That has done it. Team Splendid defeats the Headbangers by pinfall. Well, how about that?
time, 10 minutes, and for seconds, your winners, Team Splendid.
And so it's a splendid win for Team Splendid, picking up the pinfall victory over the Headbangers.
They sure did. Wow, they must be underrated. Hey, we'll be back with more championship wrestling right after this. All right, as we keep rolling along here, it's ladies tag team competition time here on RWL Championship Wrestling with Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman, the UK ladies, set to face the Manabe twins, Kyoko and Naoko, the twin goddesses.
This next ladies tag team match, one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Approaching the ring, from Sussex, England, Grace Fenwick, and from Victoria, Australia, Jessica Goldman, the UK ladies.
Yes, sir, you guys, here we are in mid-April, tax time just about a week away, and it still feels like Christmas every time the UK ladies come to town. I just love this music.
It's God Save the Queen, Tex. It's got nothing to do with Christmas.
Hey man, watch your mouth, you're still a guest around here. Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman, the UK ladies, set to face Kyoko and Naoko Manabe, the Manabe twins, in this ladies tag team matchup. And again, this is the first time ever we've never seen these teams pair up before.
And first-time encounters are always exciting.
And their opponents, representing Japan 5-Star Wrestling, from Kyushu, Japan, Kyoko and Naoko Manabe, the twin goddesses.
For 2 years running, Kyoko and Naoko Manabe, the twin goddesses, have made appearances for Japan 5-Star here in RWL. And they're sort of on loan, as you might say, from Shiro Torihata. And tonight, they're going up against the UK ladies for the first time, and that is going to be a golden level match right there.
The Manabe twins are for real, Tex. They're former Japan 5-Star Ladies Tag Team Champions. And they will be again someday, I think.
I'm inclined to agree. While I may not be sure of which team is going to win this match, I certainly have ideas on which one I favor, and I don't think it's the UK ladies.
Yeah, all right. Man's got his mind made up, huh, Gene? Well, nothing wrong with that. It's going to be Jessica Goldman starting off for the UK ladies and Kyoko Manabe starting off for the twin goddesses. In this ladies tag team matchup, Walt Rothburn rings the bell. The ladies come center ring. They lock it up, collar and elbow. Here's a whip to the far corner for Kyoko. Jessica Goldman delivers a kick to the ribs. Drapes the leg over the rope, delivers a kick to the calf. And oh man, that hurts. Jessica Goldman locks her up, winds her up. Here's a kick to the side of the head for Kyoko Manabe, followed up with a stomp to the face. Jessica Goldman rebounds off the ropes, misses with the kick. Kyoko Manabe locks her up, whips her to the twin goddess's corner. And Kyoko nails her with the right. Down goes Jessica Goldman. Jessica Goldman counters, escapes the corner, moves in on Kyoko Manabe. A series of rights and lefts, winds up the arm into a Russian leg sweep. Down goes Kyoko Manabe. Here's a quick cover. One, but just a one. Jessica Goldman has to start all over again. Off the ropes, misses with the moonsault. Kyoko Manabe going for the quick cover. 1, 2, and another near fall real early in this match. This one's going to be a ride and a half, you guys.
I think so, too. I think the twin goddesses have got this one in the bag.
Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. We'll have to see. Jessica Goldman with an axe kick takes down Kyoko Manabe. Naoko Manabe comes in on the tag. Jessica Goldman moves in. Whoa, what a roll right there, and a kick to the, a muley kick to the face from Naoko Manabe. And the twin goddesses showing off that unusual style as Grace Fenwick goes behind a rear waistlock on Naoko. Has her up against the ropes. Grace Fenwick torturing the arm of Naoko Manabe. Grace Fenwick, the real sadistic half of the UK lady. She likes to hurt girls. Huh. Naoko tags in Kyoko. Here's a double team from the twin goddesses. Double stereo kicks right to the face. Down goes Grace Fenwick. Kyoko locks her up. A boot to the face. And Grace Fenwick on the receiving end of the business now. Look at this. Kyoko Manabe into an octopus stretch on Grace Fenwick. And the tables have turned. Well, Grace Fenwick escapes the hold. Locks up Kyoko. Has her up. Drives a knee right into the head of Kyoko Manabe. Going for a quick cover here. But not even a one. Kyoko Manabe back on her feet. Grace Fenwick quickly countered. Kyoko sweeps her. Takes her down. And Kyoko steps out. And here comes Naoko Manabe on the tag. Grace Fenwick finally back to her senses. Comes in. Naoko Manabe right there. Whips her to the ropes. Winds her up. And a beautiful spinning neckbreaker. And here's another cover. One. But just a one. A lot of near falls in this ladies tag matchup so far. Kyoko slams her head first into the canvas. Grace Fenwick rounded back up again. Gets locked up. Whip to the Twin Goddesses corner. Kyoko Manabe countered. Grace Fenwick escapes the corner. Rebounds off the ropes. Beautiful flying kick right to the face. Grace Fenwick goes for the cover. One. But just one. A whole lot of near falls here. Grace Fenwick starts putting the boots to Kyoko Manabe. Kyoko caught with some wrist clutch stomps to the side of the head. Grace Fenwick gets hung up on the ropes by Naoko. Kyoko Manabe getting back up on her feet. And just in time, too. Grace Fenwick trying to find her way out and finally does. Here comes Jessica Goldman. Don't do that. Oh. Got caught doing the bitty bomb. One. But, the pin broken up again. Jessica Goldman moves in on Kyoko Manabe. Kyoko Manabe draped between the ropes as Jessica Goldman starts driving knees into the midsection. She's calling for it. She charges. There's a boot, and down goes Kyoko Manabe out onto the floor. Naoko Manabe being approached by Jessica Goldman. Tags her with a right. Tags her with another right. Rounds her up, and it is beat to the Bodran time. 10 punches across the chest for poor Naoko Manabe. Kyoko Manabe still being countered on the outside by the referee. Down goes Naoko. Kyoko makes her way back inside the ring. Jessica Goldman right there waiting for her. Goes behind, rear waist lock, has her up in the electric chair position. This is not going to be good. Oh, look at this. Inverted Hurricane Rana. And Jessica Goldman's wondering where that went wrong. Oh, man. Kyoko escorts Jessica Goldman to the ropes. Turns her around. Oh, well, here we go. All politeness gone. Choking her with the top rope. Kyoko Manabe winds up the arm. Jessica Goldman counters with a forearm. They lock it up again. Kyoko whipped to the UK ladies' corner. Now Jessica Goldman driving knees into Kyoko's midsection. Down she goes into the corner. And Jessica Goldman not quite done yet, putting the boots to the chest of Kyoko Manabe. And double knees right across the chest for good measure. Jessica Goldman seemingly enjoying herself here. Here's a cover. One. But just a one. I've got to say, I'm very impressed with both of these teams. They're performing most admirably. All right, well, Kyoko tags in Naoko Manabe. Jessica Goldman doesn't see it happening. There's a drop kick that kind of flinches her, but that's about it. Naoko whipped to the UK ladies' corner. Countered. She escapes. Jessica Goldman chasing her around, but it didn't kind of work out. Jessica Goldman rounds up Naoko Manabe. Whips her to the UK ladies' corner. And now torturing the arm against the ropes. Jessica Goldman firmly in control of Naoko Manabe at the present time, driving knees into the midsection of one half of the Twin Goddesses. And again, putting the boots to the chest of Naoko Manabe. Jessica Goldman absolutely relentless here. Right there with all her weight pressed against the chest, and then off, and then double knees right across the chest again. Naoko Manabe in trouble here. Here's a cover. One. Two, but Kyoko right there to save the match for her team. Jessica Goldman tags in Grace Fenwick. Naoko Manabe against the ropes and helpless. And that's the way Grace Fenwick likes them. Pitches her out to the outside. Here we go. Grace Fenwick rebounds off the ropes and a baseball slide. Boots to the chest for Naoko Manabe. Naoko counters. Locks up Grace Fenwick. Drives her into the ring steps. Oh, man. Naoko Manabe nails her with a beautiful moonsault. And Grace Fenwick is laid out. Naoko Manabe slowly making her way back inside the ring. Decides to go after Jessica Goldman, too. Hangs her up off the top rope. Down go both UK ladies. As the Twin Goddesses remain standing tall. Kyoko Manabe brought in on the tag. Grace Fenwick, the legal woman in the match, back up on her feet, making her way back inside. Here comes Kyoko. Here's a kick to the side of the head. And she took it. Unbelievable. Grace whips Kyoko to the ropes, takes her down with a forearm. Here's another quick cover. 1, 2, but Naoko Manabe breaks up the pin yet again. What a ride this ladies tag match has been. Spinning back fist from Grace Fenwick takes down Naoko. Kyoko Manabe catching boots to the chest from Grace Fenwick. Fenwick delivers a kick to the back of Kyoko before leaving and tagging in Jessica Goldman. Kyoko back up on her feet against the ropes. Here comes Jessica. Jessica Goldman again drapes her between the ropes, starts driving knees into the midsection of Kyoko Manabe. And she is just hanging on by a thread. And here comes Jessica. Boom! There's a kick and out onto the floor goes Kyoko Manabe. And here's a tag. Grace Fenwick comes in. Referee counting. Naoko Manabe goes out from a shoulder. Courtesy of Grace Fenwick. Kyoko Manabe back up on her feet now. Makes her way back inside the ring. Grace Fenwick waiting right there for her. Look at this nice wheelbarrow roll and a kick to the chest. Kyoko moves in. There's another kick. And down goes Grace Fenwick again. Back up on her feet and another roll and another kick to the face. Huh. Okay. Out goes Grace Fenwick. Kyoko Manabe measuring her. Here we go through the ropes and boom. Crossbody takes Grace Fenwick down again. The Twin Goddesses performing really well tonight. Here we go. Slam face first into the mats. Kyoko Manabe eyeballing Jessica Goldman in case she might make a move. Kyoko taking her sweet time about getting back inside that ring. Up over the top rope she comes. Goes after Jessica Goldman again. Another shoulder tackle. And again the UK ladies, both of them laid out. Grace Fenwick still the legal woman in the match, being counted by the referee. Grace makes her way back inside. Kyoko with a forearm takes her right back down again. Kyoko Manabe rounds her up. Grace Fenwick counters. Has her up in a front cradle. Kyoko Manabe back into the turnbuckle. Spun out center ring by Grace Fenwick. Here goes another cover and another pin attempt. But not even a one. Whoa. Kyoko Manabe powering out of that pin. Grace Fenwick with a series of kicks to the head. Takes Kyoko down again. Tags in Jessica Goldman. Kyoko fails to connect with the dropkick. Catches a right to the back of the head. Whip to the ropes. And a hard shot to the midsection from Jessica Goldman. Goes behind a forearm. And down goes Kyoko again. Jessica Goldman delivers a kick to the leg. And Kyoko Manabe looking like she's in some trouble here. Jessica Goldman sets her up. Oh, man. Face first slammed into the canvas. Goldman going for the cover. 1, 2. And another near fall. As Kyoko Manabe says, no, I'm not going out like that. Jessica Goldman locks her up. Whips Kyoko to the ropes. There's a wicked super kick. Down she goes. Jessica Goldman going for the cover again. 1, 2, 3. It is over. UK ladies by pinfall.
The time, 12 minutes and 23 seconds. Your winners, the UK ladies.
Yes, sir, and it was Christmas time all through the land. Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman picking up a pinfall win over the Twin Goddesses from Japan 5-star in pretty impressive fashion. That was a really good match, you guys. I enjoyed the hell out of that. That was really terrific. But I'm not too crazy about the UK ladies. I gotta be honest. Or that Christmas music. Philistine, we'll be back with more right after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, Legends Division single action up next with Brutus the Barber Beefcake set to go one-on-one against your Olympic hero, Mr. Kurt Angle, accompanied by Miss Georgia Washington.
This next Legends Division match, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Approaching the ring from San Francisco, California, weighing to 172 pounds, here he is, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Now, I'm sure there are some of you fans saying, oh, well, it's been a long time since we've seen Brutus the Barber Beefcake around here. Actually, no, it ain't. It was only 4 months ago when he made his last appearance against primetime Bobby Mills. But Brutus the Barber Beefcake is back tonight and going one-on-one against the Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and that is going to be a hellified good match right there.
Brutus is always great. You can always count on him. If you're calling in a favor and you need someone to work a match, well, Brutus is your man.
I heard he was suing the Belt Council for stealing his haircutting gimmick.
Well, hey, that one might actually be true, Danny. Oh, wow.
And his opponent accompanied by Miss Georgia Washington from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, weighing to 124 pounds, Kurt Angle.
And for those of you who did not get enough Georgia Washington earlier this evening, well, she's back here, this time with Kurt Angle, set to go one-on-one against Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I don't know, who you fellas like in this one?
I'm thinking Kurt Angle's been very hot lately, and I believe he's going to win this match. After all, we don't see Brutus the Barber Beefcake all that often, do we?
Yeah, but that don't mean he can't pull an upset. I mean, it's entirely possible, ain't it?
Gentlemen, we have seen some seriously unlikely upsets in the past, so I don't put nothing past fate.
I'm favoring Angle based entirely on his past success, his track record. After all, he's been performing quite well lately.
Yeah, he has been racking up the wins. It's true.
It's damn true.
I like you guys. You can hang out longer. Well, Brutus has got a big smile on his face. Well, let's see how this all shakes out. Referee Willie Johnson sounds the bell. They come center ring. Brutus nails him with an inverted atomic drop. Kurt Angle goes down like a stone. Misses with the kick. Kurt Angle gonna make him pay for it. Rib breaker. The Olympic hero delivers a stomp. Goes behind into an arm bar and an arm breaker. Oh, man. Brutus rounded back up. Counters with a right. And a shoulder tackle. Takes Kurt Angle down. Brutus rounded up. Jawjacker backs him off. Kurt Angle. Belly-to-belly suplex from the Olympic hero. Georgia Washington watching her fellow work here. Brutus counters with a kick to the midsection. A jawjacker from Kurt Angle again. And a one-arm takedown. Kurt Angle quickly going for a cover here. One. Just a one. Just a one. Brutus Beefcake catches a stomp to the back. Kurt Angle now on trying to unscrew the head of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Slams his head down to the canvas since he can't get it unscrewed. Back body drop from Brutus Beefcake. Brutus rounds up Kurt Angle. Whips him to the ropes. Oh, look at that little do the hustle and a counter kick. Brutus says, oh, no, you don't, man. Oh, double axe handle. Takes Kurt Angle right back down again. And Brutus Beefcake starts to take over this match. Now, Kurt Angle and Brutus Beefcake trading shots. Another rib breaker from Kurt Angle. Followed up with another stomp to the midsection. Brutus counters with a knee to the head. And now Brutus the Barber Beefcake stalking Kurt Angle into a sleeper hold. Well, this could complicate things for Mr. Angle. Jawjacker from behind backs Brutus Beefcake off. Here we go, Georgia Washington. Manipulating the turnbuckle as Kurt Angle goes into a leg lock on Brutus Beefcake. Well, doesn't seem like Georgia successfully removed that turnbuckle. Brutus Beefcake catches a shot from Kurt Angle. Whipped into the corner. Kurt Angle misses with the charge, and a clothesline from Brutus takes him out onto the floor. Brutus Beefcake quickly rolling out after Kurt Angle as the referee starts the count. winds up the arm. Kurt Angle unwinding it himself and turning it into an arm drag. Nicely done. Kurt Angle, definitely one of the best technical wrestlers we got going. You're definitely right about that, Gene.
Absolutely. Kurt Angle is definitely one of the greatest technical wrestlers of his time.
Kurt, all the way up on the top rope and a crossbody splash across Brutus Beefcake. Angle covers. 1, 2, but again, no, another near fall. Kurt Angle not able to put Brutus Beefcake away. Kurt Angle goes into a leg lock on Brutus Beefcake. This is a move we don't see all too often. Kurt Angle trying to squeeze the breath out of Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and he can't seem to get himself out. Well, Kurt Angle releasing the hold, and that definitely wore out Brutus a little bit. Brutus counters with a right, winds up the arm of Kurt Angle, drop toe hold from Angle, and now Brutus Beefcake whipped into the corner. There's a shoulder tackle that fails to connect again, and another clothesline. That's not an instant replay. They just did the same thing all over again. Brutus Beefcake back on the outside with Kurt Angle again as the referee counts. Brutus tags Angle with a right. Angle gets him back inside the ring, follows him on in himself. Kurt Angle from behind tries for the suplex, but Brutus Beefcake says, nope, that's all right, we're not doing that. Elbow to the back of the head of Kurt Angle, a hard right. And Kurt Angle caught in a swinging neck breaker from Brutus Beefcake, and a fist drop from the Barber. Well, he ain't going to use them shears on Kurt Angle, that's for sure. Kurt Angle in trouble as Brutus the Barber Beefcake rounds him up. Whoa, a spinning knee to the head. Another nice move. Brutus taken down by Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle saying it's done. This is not good for Brutus. Brutus counters. Rounds him up, inverted atomic drop to Kurt Angle that puts him in the far corner. Kurt Angle counters and escapes the corner. Angle into a dragon sleeper on Brutus. And there's that rolling leg lock again, and we may see a submission right here. He locked it in pretty good the first time around. Brutus, with a boot to the face, extricates himself from a nasty situation. Another elbow to the head of Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle counters with a set of kicks to the leg. And ho, here we go, one arm slam from Kurt Angle, and down he goes. Kurt Angle flipping him over, and there is the ankle lock. And that's going to be bad, bad news for Mr. Brutus Beefcake, who is hanging on, but by only a thin thread. Oh, man, no, he's tapping, that's it. This one's all over. Kurt Angle defeating Brutus the Barber Beefcake by pinfall.
The time was 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Your winner by tap out, Kurt Angle.
All right, well, there you have it. Kurt Angle giving Brutus Beefcake the choice to tap or snap, and he chose tap, hot, quick, and in a hurry, didn't he?
Most certainly did. Once Kurt Angle locked in that ankle lock on Brutus Beefcake, oh, he tried to resist. He tried to hang out for as long as he could, but eventually the pain just became too great.
Yeah, well, Kurt Angle, a master at submissions, and a master at that ankle lock, too. He's made a whole lot of people tap or snap. And, well, this time it was Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and, well, he left that ankle lock locked in a real long time, too. And Brutus the Beefcake sure did fight, but, well, it just wasn't enough. All right, folks, our main event is coming up. Greg the Hammer Valentine and Macho Man Randy Savage one-on-one when we come back from this break. All right, folks, in our main event, more Legends Division action ahead as Greg the Hammer Valentine gets set to go one-on-one against Scott Bill's prime star, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, boy. Big deal.
Tonight's main event is set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first, from Seattle, Washington, weighing to 156 pounds, Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Yes, Greg Valentine back with us again. Greg the Hammer Valentine set to go up against the Macho Man Randy Savage. And, well, they've crossed swords before.
That's right, they have. But you know something? Greg the Hammer Valentine, he's got a particular skill that not many people actually realize. Have you ever seen the old video of Greg the Hammer Valentine breaking boards with his elbow drop?
No, I can't say that I have.
He's amazing. He would drop that elbow and crack those boards like a karate expert.
Oh, hell, I'd like to see that.
And here comes the big windbag and his pet lizard.
You really don't like that man, do you, Gene?
Ate his guts.
And his opponent, accompanied by two short Popeye Scott Bell from Sarasota, Florida, weighing to 154 pounds, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Well, Danny, Gene, it seems to me like you boys could use a little help over there at Southwest. With Scott Bell's being such a problem child. Well, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a sit down in the front office with Colin O'Toole and see what we can't do about reordering things at Southwest. Like, maybe making you permanent general manager, Gene.
But that would mean that Scott Bell would be below me, wouldn't it?
It most certainly would.
I think I'd rather like that.
Just try to understand that Scott is an irresponsible douche, all right? Gene here takes care of all the dirty work, all the grunt work. Scott Bell, all he does is complain, cry, bitch, and moan all day long. That's his thing.
Oh, you speak as if I didn't know the man, Danny. Come on now. Well, anyway, let's focus on this here main event and we can talk in detail after the show. Yes, sir, this is the cherry on tonight's Championship Wrestling Sunday. And whoa, what a Sunday it is. Willie Johnson rings the bell. They come center ring. Greg the Hammer Valentine quickly countered by Macho Man Randy Savage. Savage winds him up. Greg Valentine takes him right down with a forearm. The Hammer with a chop across the chest. Macho Man retaliates. A backbreaker from Randy Savage. Misses with the kick. Greg Valentine with a rake of the back. Kick to the leg from Macho Man Randy Savage. A clubbing overhand right from Valentine and a hammer right across the head. That elbow right there. The elbow you was talking about. Oh. Valentine whipped to the ropes. Macho Man takes him down with an elbow. Gathers him back up. There's an elbow too in retaliation. Greg Valentine getting a taste of his own medicine here. Macho Man Randy Savage with a Russian leg sweep and two short Popeyes just loving it all. Macho Man takes himself all the way up to the top rope. And here we go, knee right across the chest of Greg Valentine. A kick to the back as Macho Man goes for his first cover once. But just the one, Greg Valentine. Still way too steamed. Valentine goes behind. Side suplex from the Hammer. Valentine rounds up Macho Man. Whips him to the far corner. Here's a clothesline, and down goes Macho Man into the corner, and Greg Valentine goes into a choke on the Macho Man. I bet you liking that one, huh, Gene?
Got to admit, it makes me smile a little.
Greg Valentine with a clothesline over the top rope. Out onto the floor goes Macho Man Randy Savage. Greg Valentine rounds up the Macho Man. Macho Man counters. Slides himself back inside the ring. Here comes Greg Valentine right after him. A hard right. A whip through the ropes. And another clothesline for the Macho Man that puts him in a seated position into the corner. And another choke from Greg Valentine. Well, the Hammer not fooling around here with the Macho Man. That's for damn sure. Valentine flips him over. Here we go. There's a leg snap, and he's softening up Macho Man for that figure four leg lock. You better believe it. The Hammer into an arm bar on the Macho Man. And he's got it locked in. Macho Man can't get to the rope, so he's going to have to get himself out. And Greg Valentine catches an elbow to the back, to the face. Valentine has him up. Rib breaker from Greg the Hammer Valentine. And yes, Greg the Hammer Valentine knows he's got fan support up in here. And he's exploiting it to the max. Valentine whipped into the corner by Macho Man. Valentine counters with an elbow. Whips the Macho Man into the corner. Macho Man counters and escapes the corner. Valentine with a kick. And a knee breaker to the Macho Man. Followed up with a stomp to the midsection. Greg the Hammer Valentine dragging Macho Man Randy Savage. Boom! There's that elbow you were talking about, Chicago Danny. And he nailed him a beauty. Macho Man Randy Savage is reeling. Scott Bell's crying and complaining just like you said. Now Greg Valentine takes him down. Drives a knee into the leg of Greg Valentine. I'm telling you, he's setting up that figure four. As sure as I'm alive. Boom, there it is. Scott Bell bringing in a chair, but it looks like it might be a little bit too late. The figure four locked in on Macho Man Randy Savage. He is turning himself around and extricates himself from the hole. Now, Macho Man catches another elbow to the top of the head from Greg Valentine. Macho Man retaliates with an elbow to the midsection, an arm drag from Greg Valentine. Macho Man gathered up over the shoulder, hung up over the top rope, down goes Macho Man Randy Savage, followed up with a stomp to the midsection. Greg the Hammer Valentine been real aggressive in this matchup. Macho Man catches a kick to the midsection from Valentine. Forearm. Referee Willie Johnson dispatches that chair as Valentine chokes Macho Man Randy Savage on the ropes. Just vicious. Well, now, Greg Valentine with a forearm takes him down, drapes the leg over the rope and starts yanking it. I'm telling you, he was softening him up for that figure four. Drops the knee into the mat. And Greg Valentine strategically working on the limbs of Macho Man Randy Savage through most of this match. Savage goes behind. Valentine counters a clubbing blow to the back of the head. Valentine's got him up. Another rib breaker for Macho Man. Valentine rounds him up. Whips him into the far corner. Macho Man counters. Lines up the arm of Greg Valentine. Into a hammerlock. Valentine extricates himself with a couple of punches to the midsection. Takes down Macho Man Randy Savage, drives the knee into the leg again. And Too Short Popeye knows what's going on. He knows Greg Valentine softened him up for the figure four, and he's trying to buy time, but I don't think it's going to do any good. Macho Man back up on his feet. Has Valentine counters it into an inverted DDT. Valentine drags Macho Man center ring, follows it up with a stomp to the midsection. Again, drags Macho Man center ring, winds it up. There's another elbow across the top of the skull. Ouch. And here we go. Randy Savage covered 1, 2, 3, and that is going to do it. Greg Valentine wins tonight's main event over Macho Man Randy Savage by pinfall.
The time, 6 minutes and 17 seconds. Your winner, Greg Valentine.
Well, Greg Valentine using that elbow that Chicago Danny Awesome spoke of several times upon the head of Macho Man Randy Savage. Just enough to get that 1, 2, 3 pinfall over the Macho Man. And what a main event it was, with Macho Man Randy Savage offering very little offense at the hands of Greg Valentine.
It's like I told you, Macho Man isn't really all that.
Well, I guess that's true.
Look, let's just face facts. Macho Man Randy Savage, he's good, but he's not that great anymore. Greg the Hammer Valentine still got it going on. I mean, look at that. 3 elbows to the head, 4 elbows to the head. What was it?
It was a great many elbows to the head, Danny. And we're about to see another one here on the replay, I think. No, Macho Man Randy Savage there it is. Boom, right across the top of the skull. And that was just about it. Macho Man Randy Savage absolutely motionless thereafter. All Willie Johnson had to do was count to 3 and it was all over. And folks, that's going to put a wrap on this edition of RWL Championship Wrestling. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for spending your time with us. And I remind you to stay tuned, because immediately following this broadcast of RWL Championship Wrestling is going to be RWL Snarl with me, Wally, and Johnny B. All right, folks, for all of us here for Chicago Danny Awesome, for Gene and myself, Hangman Tex Lynch, thank you, good night, and we will see you next time.